My mother didn't even look up from her leather-bound wedding planner. She just tapped her pen on the page. "We've decided," she said, her voice as cool as the Boston air outside. "You'll be filming Olivia's wedding. It can be your gift to her." I just stared at her. My sister sitting across from me gave a tight little smile. "Just make sure you look professional, Claire," she added. "Trevor's entire firm will be there. We can't have you looking, well, like you." My mother didn't even look up from her wedding planner. "Claire, we've decided. You'll be filming Olivia's wedding. It can be your gift to her." I sat there in that upscale Boston cafe just staring at her. My sister Olivia, the golden child, just smiled. "You'll need to make sure you look professional, Claire. Trevor's entire firm will be there. We can't have you looking, well, you. Have you ever felt like the invisible one in your own family? Let me know your story down in the comments." I stared at them. The porcelain cup felt cold in my hand. A gift? My mother Karen finally looked up from her leather-bound planner, her eyes impatient. "Of course. It's the least you can do." "Mom, I can't," I said. My voice was shaking just a little. "I'm a documentary filmmaker, not a wedding videographer. It's not what I do. It's not my style." "It's pressing record on a camera, Claire." "Don't be difficult," she snapped. "It's not just that," I insisted, my throat tightening. "I already have plans. That weekend, I'm supposed to be in Kyoto. I have a flight booked. I've been saving for this research trip for 2 years. It's non-refundable." Olivia let out a sharp, theatrical laugh. It was a sound I'd heard my whole life, usually aimed directly at me. "Kyoto, seriously," she chimed in, leaning forward with mock concern. "More of your weird, arty nonsense, Claire. We're talking about a $1.2 million wedding. This is my day. And you want to go take pictures of temples, or whatever it is you do." Her words, that casual flick of the wrist as she dismissed my entire career. Something in me, something that had been pushed down for 28 years, finally snapped. No. It was quiet, but the word hung in the air of that perfectly decorated cafe, heavier than the silence that followed. Olivia's smile froze. My mother slowly lifted her head, her eyes narrowing. "What did you just say?" I said it again, firmer this time. My voice didn't even shake. "No. I will not be filming your wedding, Olivia. I have my own career and I have plans I am not canceling." The tension was immediate. I had done the unforgivable. I had refused my mother publicly, in front of her golden child. Karen's face went pale, then hardened. Her voice dropped to that icy, controlled tone that always meant the final judgment was coming. "I see," she said, closing her planner with a soft thud. "Well, Claire, if your little trip is more important than your family, then you don't need to bother coming at all. We can't have your negative energy there." She stood up, smoothing her skirt, not a flicker of emotion on her face. "Honestly, it's for the best. Your presence would only make things difficult." And that was it. Just like that. I was officially uninvited. Banned from my own sister's wedding because I wouldn't work for free. They turned and walked out of the cafe, leaving me there with the bill. Kyoto wasn't just a trip. It was an escape. It was my passion project. I'd spent months researching a small 8th-generation workshop there that specialized in Kintsugi. It's the Japanese art of mending broken pottery. But instead of hiding the cracks, they fill them with gold lacquer. The philosophy is that the piece is more beautiful because it was broken. I felt that. I understood that. I wanted to make a film about it. Maybe because my own life felt like a collection of pieces my family kept trying to sweep under the rug. This is just how it had always been. In our family, there was only one star. It's a classic textbook dynamic, isn't it? The golden child and the black sheep. In many families, these roles are assigned early. The golden child becomes the embodiment of the parent's hopes and ambitions, receiving all the resources and praise. The black sheep becomes the scapegoat, the one who is different, difficult, or unrealistic. Olivia was the golden child. My parents, Richard and Karen, both high-powered Boston lawyers, saw her as their masterpiece. Ivy League law school, an apartment in Back Bay, they paid for a brand new luxury car at graduation. She was the one they poured everything into. The one they saw. And I was the black sheep, the unrealistic one. The one who got a scholarship, moved to a tiny studio, and chose a camera over a corner office. I was the one who was supposed to be invisible, until they needed something. And how does a family get to this point? How do they demand free labor from the daughter they ignore, and then banish her when she says no? It's the trap of normalized cruelty. It starts small, a joke about my hobby at Thanksgiving, forgetting my birthday but throwing Olivia a party for passing a midterm. It happens so gradually that the dysfunction becomes normal. Their treading on my feelings wasn't an exception, it was the rule. I'd spent my whole life accepting that role because honestly, it was just easier. Easier than fighting for scraps of attention. Easier than pointing out the hypocrisy. Hypocrisy like the tax bill. 2 years ago, Dad Richard called me panicked and mistaken his bookkeeping at the firm. He owed the IRS $50,000, and he didn't have it. Olivia was too stressed with her bar exam to be bothered. So I, the unrealistic daughter, the one with the hobby, quietly drained my savings money I had saved for new lenses and paid it. I never told anyone, it was just what I did. I was the family shock absorber. And now they were demanding my time, my skill for free. This wasn't just an insult. It was a bill for a lifetime of me being quiet. Excluding me from the wedding wasn't a shock. It was just the logical next step in a pattern they had normalized for decades. I landed in Kyoto with a shattered heart and a high-definition camera. The anger from that cafe encounter hadn't faded. It had just settled. It settled into a cold, hard resolve that fueled me through the 13-hour flight. They wanted me to be invisible, fine. I'd show them what I could do when I finally stopped trying to please them. Boston was loud, sharp, and judgmental. Kyoto was quiet. It was the sound of the wind moving through the Arashiyama bamboo grove, a sound like 1,000 quiet whispers. It was the smell of incense and damp earth at the Kintsugi temple. It was the feeling of centuries of peace settling over me, a peace I had never known. I threw myself into my work. I filmed everything. The way the morning light hit the moss on a stone lantern. The precise meditative movements of a geisha walking through Gion. The way the city's ancient history lived alongside its modern pulse. Then I went to the Kintsugi workshop. The master was an old man named Kenji. He didn't speak much English, and I spoke almost no Japanese, but we communicated through the work. His studio was small, dusty, and filled with sunlight. Broken pieces of pottery lay on shelves waiting. For 3 days I filmed him. I watched him take a simple ceramic bowl that had been shattered into a dozen pieces. It looked worthless. It was something my family would have thrown away without a second thought. But he didn't rush. He carefully, lovingly cleaned every single edge. He mixed the dark urushi lacquer. He joined the pieces one by one with a patience that felt like a prayer. The bowl was whole again, but scarred the dark lines tracing its history of trauma. Then he took a small brush, and with a surgeon's steady hand he meticulously painted over those dark seams with pure liquid gold. He held it up to the light, and the gold veins glowed. It wasn't just fixed, it was transformed. "Wabi-sabi," he said, tapping one of the golden cracks with his fingernail. He looked at me, his eyes clear and kind as if he knew exactly why I was there. "It is more beautiful," he said slowly, "for having been broken." I felt the tears well up and I hid behind my camera, but my hands were shaking. He was talking about the bowl, but he was telling me my own story. All those years my family had made me feel like I was the broken one. The one who wasn't perfect like Olivia. The one whose cracks, my arty career, my quiet nature, my refusal to play their game needed to be hidden away. Standing in that dusty, quiet workshop in Kyoto, I finally understood. I wasn't broken. I was just unfinished. And those cracks, they weren't something to be ashamed of, they weren't flaws. They were where the gold was supposed to go. I looked at the footage on my small screen. The old man's hands, the glowing gold, the shattered piece made whole and priceless. I wasn't just filming a travelogue anymore. I wasn't just filming a passion project. I was filming my Declaration of Independence. Saturday, the day of the wedding. I woke up, made coffee, and sat in my small Boston studio. The silence was heavy. I knew 300 miles away the frantic, expensive preparations were underway. I did the one thing I promised myself I wouldn't do. I opened Instagram. It had already started. The tagged photos from guests arriving at the hotel. The pre-wedding champagne brunch. Olivia looked stunning, of course, in a custom white pantsuit. The venue was draped in thousands of white roses, each one probably costing more than my weekly grocery budget. Everything was perfect. Extravagant. And cold. It looked like a magazine spread, flawless and completely soulless. I scrolled through 3 photos, then closed the app. I felt that old, familiar ache, the feeling of being on the outside. But this time, something else was mixed in with it. Not anger, not anymore, just clarity. I opened my laptop and looked at the footage I'd captured in Kyoto. The quiet master, the glowing gold seams, the serene bamboo forest. My footage wasn't perfect. It was real. I spent the next 8 hours editing. I didn't rush. I let the story tell itself. I wove the images of the broken bowl being mended with the silent breathing shots of the forest. I let the master's quiet humming become the soundtrack. I cut it down to a perfect 3-minute short film. That evening, I knew they were at the reception. They were probably giving toasts, dancing their first dance under crystal chandeliers, basking in the glow of their $1.2 million success. I sat on my couch, my laptop warm on my knees. I uploaded my film to Vimeo and TikTok. I gave it a simple title, Kintsugi, a love letter to imperfection. I hit post. I turned off my notifications. I put my phone on silent, plugged it in across the room, and went to bed. I woke up on Sunday too. Chaos. My phone wasn't just buzzing, it was vibrating itself off the nightstand. I picked it up confused. The screen was a solid wall of notifications. I had gained over 20,000 followers overnight. The video. It was everywhere. It had been shared by a massive design blog, then a mindfulness influencer I followed, then a famous director I idolized. The comments weren't just "this is pretty." They were personal. Deeply personal. I needed this today. Thank you. This made me cry. As someone healing from a broken family, this is everything. The beauty of imperfection. What a message. This is true art. This is what perfect actually looks like. It kept going. Thousands of comments. Millions of views. Strangers from all over the world were connecting with it. They saw the message. They saw me. They understood in a way my own family never had that there was strength in being broken. The first call from my family came Monday morning. It was Olivia. I answered my coffee halfway to my lips and was met with a sound I hadn't heard since she was 9 years old, and I'd accidentally broken her favorite doll, a full-blown, sobbing, hysterical tantrum. "You ruined everything," she shrieked, her voice barely coherent. "Everything. Olivia, what are you talking about?" My Vogue Living exclusive, it just launched this morning, my Vogue feature, and every single comment is about your stupid Kyoto film. I sat down. I hadn't even known Vogue Living was part of her plan. They're pasting links to your video in the comments of my wedding article, she cried. People are saying your film is true art and that my wedding looked empty and soulless. One person asked if you were the talented sister they tried to hide. You did this on purpose. You planned this to humiliate me. I just listened. She had spent $1.2 million to buy the world's attention to curate the perfect image, and I had, in a single weekend, with a 3-minute film about a broken bowl, completely and utterly eclipsed her. "I have to go, Olivia," I said finally, my voice calm. "You can't just..." I hung up. I felt numb, not happy, not yet, just stunned. The scale of the fallout was bigger than I could have imagined. I had just wanted to create something beautiful for myself. I hadn't realized I was building a weapon. And then, as I was staring at my phone, an email popped up. The subject line was simple. "Congratulations, International Online Short Film Festival." My hands were shaking as I opened it. I had submitted Kintsugi to their documentary short contest a week ago. More as an afterthought, a hopeful shot in the dark. The email was brief. Dear Miss Claire, we are honored to inform you that your submission, Kintsugi, A Love Letter to Imperfection, has unanimously won this year's Grand Jury Prize for Best Documentary Short. The judges were profoundly moved by its quiet power and timely message on resilience and beauty. I read the line twice. A Grand Jury Prize. This wasn't just likes on TikTok. This wasn't just social media buzz. This was real. This was professional validation from the industry I respected most in the world. This was a career-making award. Olivia's Vogue Living article was about her social status, something she had paid for. My award was about my work. And in that moment, I knew unequivocally who had won. The aftermath was swift. The film festival win wasn't just a trophy, it was a key. It unlocked doors I didn't even know existed. My inbox, which used to be full of freelance gigs that barely paid my rent, was suddenly flooded. Emails from production companies. Inquiries from streaming services wanting to talk about a documentary series. A major brand offered me a contract, a real contract with commas, in the number to create a whole campaign based on the Kintsugi philosophy. My life had changed overnight because of a 3-minute film. And my family? Silence. Absolute deafening silence. I saw on social media that Vogue Living had quietly removed the comment section from Olivia's wedding article. The event of the season was over. They had their perfect, exclusive $1.2 million day. They had successfully kept the black sheep away, protecting their flawless image. But in the end, they were the ones who were eclipsed. They were the ones left in the shadow of something real. I sat in my small studio looking at the email from the production company, the Grand Jury Prize certificate printed on my desk. And I didn't feel that sharp, hot burst of revenge. I didn't even feel triumphant. I just felt peace. I had taken the broken pieces they'd left me with, and I had finally made them into gold. And this is for you. This is for anyone who has ever been made to feel like they were on the outside looking in at a life you were supposed to be part of. For anyone who was ever called too much, or not enough, or too complicated. For the one who was always expected to be the sensible one, the one who quietly accepted the scraps while others got the feast. Your worth is not determined by their invitation. Your value is not defined by their validation. You do not need their permission to be celebrated. Stop waiting to be seen. Stop asking for a seat at their table. Go. Build your own. Build a life so beautiful, so strong, and so true to yourself that their opinions become nothing more than distant, irrelevant noise. You are not the black sheep. You are not on the fringes. You are the one who got away.